Today, we're counting down our picks for the top 10 older woman and younger man romance movies. If you enjoy this compilation of movies, don't forget to like and subscribe. Stay tuned until the end of the video and share your favorite film with us in the comments. Number 1. Huérfanos.
Mi bien amada Nana Anita, quiero creer que el perdón se va abriendo paso dentro de usted por mi sorpresiva partida.
Ya hace tiempo que se fue.
Ya pronto me hago la vela para regresar.
Tells the powerful true story of Melchor Ocampo, a man whose life was defined by his struggle against the rigid social structures of his time. Starring Rafael Sanchez Navarro, Dolores Heredia, and Carlos Aragon, the film explores the oppressive and violent atmosphere of a nation struggling to find its identity while remaining under the powerful influence of the Spanish crown and the Catholic Church. The narrative follows Ocampo as he confronts the taint of his illegitimacy, a social death sentence among the conservative Mexican aristocracy. Driven by a strong sense of idealism and a deeply personal story of forbidden love, Ocampo rises above his circumstances to challenge the status quo. Number 2. Patricia, Una Pasión Escondida.
Me tocas.
¿Ya te cogiste tu marido?
¿Qué? Es como si yo te pregunto que si sigues con el casado.
Number 2. Patricia, Una Pasión Escondida. Patricia is a highly respected family therapist and acclaimed author who has built her career guiding others through the complexities of love, commitment, and emotional well-being. However, behind her polished professional facade, her own marriage is crumbling. Years of routine have left her relationship with her husband, Humberto Leopoldo, cold, dry, and devoid of the emotions he advocates in his books. Patricia's life direction changes drastically when she meets Pablo, a young and charismatic psychology student. What begins as a relationship quickly turns into a secret and turbulent affair. Pablo's youthful energy and uninhibited perspective on desire force Patricia to confront the hypocrisies of her own life. Number 3. Wildflowers. Number 3. Wildflowers. A touching and atmospheric film that explores the suffocating burden of grief and the unexpected path to liberation. It presents a grounded emotional narrative set against a backdrop of desolate despair. The story follows Martha, a woman whose life has come to a standstill. Years after the devastating loss of her child, she remains physically and emotionally paralyzed. Her life is a recurring cycle of grief, lived within the sterile walls of a house that feels more like a mausoleum than a sanctuary. She is disconnected from the world, trapped in a past she cannot change and unable to engage with the present. Everything begins to change when she meets German, the young and charismatic boyfriend of her housekeeper. Number 4. P.S.
Mir so eine Art Drang verspürt. Leinwand für Leinwand. Es ist, als wären sie alle Teil einer größeren Sache.
Und Missy, was meinst du? Es gibt keine zwei Schneeflocken, die exakt gleich sind, aber diese zwei.
A melancholy yet unique romantic drama that explores the fine line between chance and destiny. Louise Harrington, a divorced 30-something admissions officer at Columbia University's School of the Arts, lives a life marked by a quiet dissatisfaction and the shadow of a tragic past. Her unfulfilled balance is shattered when she discovers a marriage proposal from a young painter named F. Scott Feinstadt. The name is identical to her high school sweetheart, who died in a car accident 20 years earlier. When he invites her for an interview, she's shocked to discover that Scott shares more than just the same name. He shares the same face, artistic talent, and charismatic demeanor as her lost lover. Number 5. Bungalow. Which favors quiet observation over dramatic outbursts. The story follows Paul, a young German soldier who decides to play truant, be absent without permission, during routine military training. Instead of escaping to a faraway land, he simply returns to his parents' suburban bungalow in rural Germany. The film meticulously captures Paul's existential state. His return is not a triumphant one, but rather a series of awkward encounters and escalating complications. He discovers his older brother Max, living at home with his girlfriend Lane. As Paul hides from the military, he finds himself caught in a web of domestic tensions and unrequited desires. Paul remains a ghostly figure in his own life, unable to commit to either his military or civilian identity. Number 6. A Family Submerged.
¿Qué haces acá?
Yo le pedí ayuda con las cajas.
Esa es mi hermana, Rina, toda maquillada. Esa es mi mamá. Están todos muertos.
A haunting, dreamlike depiction of grief and the blurred lines between memory and reality. Set in the humid, stifling summer of Buenos Aires, the story follows Marcela, a middle-aged woman whose world is thrown into a silent and confusing chaos after the death of her sister, Rina. As Marcela faces the daunting task of cleaning out her late sister's apartment, her sense of self begins to dissolve. The mourning process is not depicted through grand dramatic outbursts, but through a strange and fragile atmosphere that permeates her daily life. She feels increasingly alienated from her husband and children, finding her household routines displaced and surreal. Number 7. No Future.
You're not trying to drive home.
I should probably go.
You stay with me.
The narrative delves deeper into the devastation left by addiction and the blurred lines of grief. The story follows Will, a young man struggling to maintain his sobriety while living a quiet, fragile life in the city. His world is turned upside down when he learns of his estranged childhood friend's tragic drug overdose. Driven by a mix of guilt and a need for closure, Will returns to his hometown for the funeral. There, he reconnects with Claire, his friend's grieving mother, who is trapped in a state of deep heartbreak and isolation. What begins as a moment of shared mourning quickly turns into something far more complicated and dangerous. Will and Claire find themselves engaged in a secret, emotionally charged relationship. Number 8. Sunny Boy.
Tirati una legge sbagliata a volte, ragazzo mio, è un obbligo.
Questo lo conosci?
Mai visto?
E poi, signorina Costanzi.
Set in the changing world of the 1920s and 1940s, the film follows the extraordinary and forbidden love story between Rika, a Dutch mother of 4 who has recently left her unfaithful husband, and Waldemar Nods, an ambitious young student from Suriname, 17 years her junior. When Waldemar arrives in the Netherlands to study, he rents a room in Rika's boarding house in The Hague. Despite their differences in background, age, and the racial prejudices of the era, the two fall in love. Their relationship results in the birth of their son, Waldy, affectionately nicknamed Sunny Boy. The couple faces unrelenting social and economic obstacles. They are shunned by neighbors and Rika's estranged husband. Number 9. In Blue.
Hoe sta je denken? Ja.
Lynn, a calm and professional flight attendant, finds her structured life shattered during a flight to Bucharest. When a passenger goes into labor, Lynn is forced to take over and deliver the baby mid-flight, a traumatic and profound experience that leaves her emotionally disoriented. Upon arrival in Romania, Lynn's path crosses with Nicu, a charismatic but vulnerable teenager who lives in the winding tunnels beneath the city streets. Nicu survives by his wits and is part of a marginalized community called the Tunnel Children. What begins as a chance encounter develops into an emotionally charged and deeply complex relationship, driven by a mix of maternal instinct, loneliness, and a growing romantic tension. Number 10. Don't Call Me Mama.
Du driver med. Du jobber på mottaket.
The polished veneer of the Norwegian elite reveals a haunting core of despair and moral decline. Ava is a respected high school teacher who lives a perfectly planned life with her husband, Joe Stein, the local mayor. Despite her social standing and domestic stability, Ava harbors a deep sense of emptiness that is abruptly disrupted when she meets Amir, a charismatic young asylum seeker. What begins as a loving gesture of guidance quickly turns into a dangerous secret affair. As their relationship deepens, the film meticulously examines the complex power dynamics. Ava's position as a teacher and the wife of a powerful politician creates a stark contrast with her lover's vulnerability and lack of legal status.